Cynthia Brown, and this is Bob Peters. We are the co-chairs of the commission. I'm going to introduce the other commissioners to you now. To my right, far right, is Mukta Jose, Angela Lawrence, as I said, Robert Peters, and Barbara Walker. Due to unavoidable conflict, Reverend Mark Seals and both Pat Clark are unable to be with us today. They are the 6th and 7th commissioners. I would also like to introduce you to our newly hired executive director, Jill Williams, who is over here to my left. I also want to introduce you to Scott Pryor, who is at the very back of the room, who is one of our consultants with the commission. Finally, I want to introduce and thank both Melissa Johnson, Melissa, if you could just raise your hand, and Mindy Oakley, both who are with the Community Foundation for the Greater Greensboro area, for being here and for agreeing to serve as the fiscal agent. By supporting our work, they have agreed to serve as fiscal agent during the course of our work. Now I'd like to shift to Robert Peters.
For those of you who don't know, the commission has a mandate, and the mandate has a number of goals. The principal goal is healing and reconciliation. And we hope to do this through a process of discovering the truth. We believe that a lot can be learned from the truth in history, and that with the truth, we can improve our future. We can do a better job so that things that happened 25 years ago hopefully will never happen again. There's also quite a bit of confusion and rumors about reality. And we hope to clarify the reality about what happened at the tragic event about 25 years ago. And we feel it's also very important to acknowledge people's feelings. There's a lot of hurt feelings out there, still in the community after all these years. And we hope to help those people, and we hope to give them an opportunity to be heard. We feel all people have to have a right or opportunity to be heard, and we want to give them a forum for that. And we also help to bring about changes in social consciousness and in institutions so that we can have a better community in Greensboro going forward. Thank you.
Therefore, we invite all people who have any information related to the context, causes, sequence, and the series of events of November 3rd to share that information with us. You can share your information by talking with commission representatives, and you can do that in several different ways. You can call the office anytime to set up an appointment. People can visit the office anytime on Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And they can email the office at info@greensborotrc.org. The next steps in the commission process will be as follows. After the statement-taking process gets underway, we will invite individuals who have given statements to 4 public hearings where we will share the information we are learning with the community. These hearings will take place approximately 1 a month, beginning in March. In about a year, we will issue a report that will outline the findings of the commission, as well as recommendations for how to foster community reconciliation. Finally, it is our hope that once the report is issued, the community groups will meet and formally discuss the findings and the recommendations, whether or not they agree with them. Now, I want to invite each of the commissioners to come forward so that they can share with you why they agreed to be commissioners.
I'm reading a statement for Pat Clark, one of the commissioners that couldn't be here. I had every intention of being with you for the open house. Unfortunately, my plane was canceled and there was no way to arrive in time for this press conference. I'm pleased to serve on the Greensboro Truth and Reconciliation Commission, as it's an incredible opportunity to show that we have nothing to fear from seeking the truth. I'm hopeful that through seeking truth and reconciliation around the November 3rd, 1979 incident, we might model ways to build communities that value the worth of all of its people. And then this is mine. November 3rd is at the core of my questions about the two Americas, rich and poor, black and white. It's only a grain of sand, but that grain holds the truth that we need to answer questions about race, class, labor, and power before we become a community that values peace and justice.
Good morning, I'm Angela Lawrence, and the reason why I accepted this honor and committed to this process is, for one, I was a little girl in the community at the time of this tragedy, and so I have my own personal interest in seeing the truth and the healing take place, but I also have been witness throughout my life to so much pain and hurt in the community around this event. And I want to be a part of finding truth where it lies, revealing it, and being a part of the healing process.
One of the reasons I accepted is because obviously I was asked to, but more importantly, it's an opportunity to give something back to the community. This is a wonderful community we live in, and it has a lot of great prospects, not only for the present, but for the future. Furthermore, as I previously alluded to in my introductory remarks, a lot can be learned from the truth. A lot can be learned from history, and we should not fear truth in history. We can use truth in history in order to improve the future. And there's a Buddhist saying that I like a lot: wherever there is injustice, we all suffer. And perhaps we can improve the concepts of justice in this community. Thank you.
First, let me read Mark Sill's statement, and he really regrets his not being able to be here today. He says, by fulfilling the mandate given us, we have an opportunity to heal some very serious wounds in our civil society. Until all of those affected by the events of November 3rd have had an opportunity to tell their story and know that their story has been heard and taken seriously, there will continue to be deep and destructive divisions within our civil society. These divisions foster mistrust and prevent us from working together for the common good. By honestly confronting a difficult past, we can build a partnership of trust among all sectors of our community. This will empower us as a community and will set a very positive example for the rest of our nation to follow. I am deeply honored that my colleagues in ministry invited me to represent them in this way. And now, for what I want to say. I have lived in Greensboro for a long time, and for a long time I have been very distressed by the race relations in this city. Having been asked to be on this commission, which was initially, of course, a very great honor, and for me it was a shock, I didn't know I was going to make this seat, is that this gives me a chance to do several things. One is to give back to the community, which has given me so much. Another is to work towards reconciliation in the community, which is what we really, really want and really need. This, to me, points out the progressive character of Greensboro and will go a long way towards showing the world and our neighbors that we are indeed a progressive community. We dare to face the truth, we dare to talk about it, and we dare to exhibit it.
Thank you to all of the commissioners. I agreed to do this. I was a student at Bennett College when this happened. And I would dare say that part of the reason I agreed to do it because I wanted to be a part of a process that would uncover the many truths that contributed to the incident, and the fact that one of the victims who was killed was a Bennett student is something that I must admit is in part what inspired me to want to be a part of this. I am consciously aware of the fact that we are in an increasingly intolerant society, and I think that this process itself opens up a model that could be used across this state and across this nation to begin to examine the race, the class, and all of the other social and economic factors that contribute to the kind of intolerance that led to the violent tragedy on November 3rd, 1979. So it is an honor for me to have accepted this responsibility. And each day I learn that it is an awesome task, because there are many truths that are here, and we really want to be a part of a process that lays a foundation for reconciliation and healing, and I think that that is something that is entirely possible with the process that's been outlined for the commission. I would also like to now open the floor for your questions. Let me say, if we have not said it, thank you very much for coming here today to be a part of this important step in our process.
Have you already heard from people who want to give testimony or be a part of this?
Yes, absolutely. Several of us, as a matter of fact, have heard from different people, and this is the formal part of the process where we have developed a statement taking process that will allow people to now document what people are saying that they want to tell us. And let me just say that I will not be the only person. Anyone can feel free, who are commissioners, to answer these questions.
Can you tell us the kinds of people who have stepped forward, who have come to you already, and kind of what they've said?
Well, I will share one example, and then I invite commissioners to share another. Because one of the things that I find is that, one of the most surprising things that I've heard is that there are people who have been impacted by this event and the consequences of November 3rd that most people don't even think about. And there was a presentation that I think Scott was making in a public forum where a woman approached him who was a part of the medical community, who said that she was one of the people opposed to this commission, but part of her opposition had to do with the pain that is associated with that day, because she was in the emergency room when the people who were injured and who were killed came into the hospital. And so that for me gives an example of the kind of consequence of that day that people don't even think about. And we don't know how many other people that we might hear from who absolutely have some impact that this event has had on their lives.
May I add to that, Cynthia?
Yes, please.
There are so many people in Greensboro whose lives were impacted, whether or not they realized it or realize it now. And I do hope that they will come, whether they are in opposition with or in or honoring the fact that we have this commission. Invite all people who have any memories or who have any thoughts or any repressed ideas, that this is their chance to bring these forth and relieve themselves of the pain long suppressed that they've been feeling.
We've also had a request from a journalist family from Winston-Salem, and the journalist himself is no more, but his family wants to turn in his notes. He was at the bedside of one of the Klansmen who had involved in this at his death. And that's the kind of process we're looking at, to involve everyone and to hear everybody's voice.
I'd like to add to that. I've come across a great deal of opposition to the commission, and a number of the people who are against the commission have said it will give Greensboro a bad name, it will hurt Greensboro's reputation, it will have a negative impact on the economic future of Greensboro, it will injure the growth of Greensboro. And I say to them that I respect their point of view, that I think they have a valid point of view and a valid concern. However, I have another point of view, which I also think is valid. And that point of view is a lot can be learned from the truth and from history, and we should not be afraid of it. We can benefit from it. And I do believe in the long run, and maybe even the short run, the community will benefit from its progressive attitude.
Do you expect or desire participation from the power structure, the mayor at the time, the police, the Nazi, the Klan? Do you expect or desire that, or do you anticipate having any cooperation?
Well, I desire input from everybody. I welcome all points of view. Well, I shouldn't say I. The commission welcomes all points of view. We welcome the point of view of the mayor, of the police, of the Nazi and the Klan, the Communist Workers' Party, the Workers' Viewpoint Organization, labor organizations, anybody that has a opinion or facts, we welcome that. We feel that's part of the healing process. In other words, we feel that that has a possibility of bringing healing. It may not in every case, and we're not that optimistic that we would expect it to. But in general, we expect that there will be a better attitude toward various groups in this community, and that this community will grow, this community will benefit, and we'll all be happier living here.
Do you have any indication that any of those people I just mentioned would be willing to participate?
Yes, yes indeed, and some already have come forward. And of course, we're very pleased about that.
Yes.
Are these statements you're taking being transcribed?
This is just the beginning of that process, but yes, they will be.
Yeah, all of them, and will they all be open to public examination?
They're going to be archived, but we've also been discussing the process of taking statements instead of the transcription. We're trying to use some technology where you can bring it back, and just in our last meeting we talked about it, and plug it in and it transcribes it automatically, and everything will be saved. All of our work will be saved and
So
it'll be
the
archived.
statements are going to be recorded initially?
Yes, they're going to be recorded. And there's a formal statement form that'll be recorded.
Take us through the steps when a person comes up, the person wants to participate. He comes up here, he can come up here and make sets of appointment with you. Can you tell me what goes on next? You sit down and take their names and...
Absolutely. Actually, there is a formal statement-taking form that we have. And so you are welcome to see that, I would think. That form has questions that gives us demographic data about who it is we're interviewing, the time, the duration of the interview, very specific details about who it is we're interviewing as they're willing to give us. And then they are invited to give us their statement. What is it that they want to share? And there may be questions that we may probe further, but we begin to have it just an open narrative where they can respond to us by just answering the question, what is it you'd like to share? And then if there is a need to follow up with them, we have a question there that asks if they are willing to be followed up and if their comments can be used in some forum or in the form of a report that will be produced later. The only other thing that I could share is that we will potentially ask people in the public hearing to be a part of the public hearing so that they can share some of the various dimensions of the information that they shared with the public in those public hearings.
We want to stress also that the statements, or what anybody says, if they want it held in confidentiality, it will be held in confidentiality. No one's statements will be exposed to the world, to the public, unless they allow us to do so. So no one need fear that something will bounce back and hit them.
So we want to know what you're basing your final conclusions on necessarily.
For the most part, yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What I think that what Barbara is raising is that there may be people who, by virtue of fear of some retaliation or some other consequence, would be unwilling to share if they thought that they could not tell us in confidence. Then what that requires, if they tell us, and we have hired an able research director who will then have to triangulate, I guess the media knows what that means, I just heard that term recently, but get other supporting information to support things that have been shared that might be given in confidence. We would, of course, know who they were. We are less inclined, but the public may not know. But it is our hope that, we will have sufficient research that will support statements in those cases.
I have a question. If someone is maybe afraid to come to you all, will there be a process where you can go meet with that person, or somehow, just out of fear of just reprisal or whatever, that you will go out into the community, or will community members have to come to you all?
Yes, we're seeking information, and so pretty much by whatever means necessary, we will, we'll go to people, we take written statements, whatever we need to do to get the information that we need to make this, the recommendations at the end of this as accurate and factual as possible.
Will the recommendations include, say, if you find some sort of gross injustice, will they include, or how will they hold people accountable for maybe their actions?
A very important point of our mandate, which I want to emphasize, is there will be no recrimination, there will be no revenge. We are not a governmental body. We do not have subpoena power. We do not have power, and we would never think of suggesting any kind of action taken against anybody who comes forward.
However, let me add to that, just to say that although we don't have subpoena power, although we're not here to recriminate or seek revenge, it is our hope that with the coming forth of this information and the releasing of whatever anger, frustration, whatever people may be feeling about this tragedy, hopefully there'll be some, some soul searching, some accountability from the individual or the body, like if it's the police department or, the mayor, whoever, to the community, to say that there was a gross injustice done here. We acknowledge that. And, and so the healing process, that's the part of the reconciliation aspect of this commission. That's our hope, that it'll be a continual process of healing.
I'm sorry, would your question answer? Because I realized Bob wanted to make a statement and I wasn't sure because I blocked out for a second.
Just if, when and if there's some sort of injustice discovered, how will people be held accountable for their actions in the past?
Okay. And I think that is not a role that we were established to try to deal with. Are there other questions? Bob, you wanted to make one comment about the recommendation?
Yes. As a result of our effort, we are going to have a final report with recommendations to try and see what we can do, what the community can do to improve the community going forward. Now, that report is something that will take some time to develop, but in that report we hope to have various points of view. We hope to have objective truth, but we also hope to have what might be called personal truth, what individuals feel as a result of the tragic events of November 3rd.
If there are no more questions, any more comments from the commission? Then this concludes our first press conference. And we thank you again for being here. Have a great day. Oh, we have refreshments to the left. So for those of you who moved fast this morning, didn't get breakfast, or who are not going to get a chance to have lunch, please feel free.
Melissa was really
Good.
Guys, you guys, I was just on cloud nine. I was so happy.
That's how I came about it. So I was very honored when I got the call, and the swearing in was something I'll never forget. To see, you know, I realized then how important this process was. I mean, different sectors of the community.
And where we stand, what divides us? Teenagers together, all those truths together, to try to instill from that what the truth is.
Jill is the director.
I think I got your email yesterday. You're on the ninth floor? Yeah, I'm right upstairs.
45 years old, year round.
Depending on the day.
It's okay. No, but yeah, no, exactly. Well, then your research.
Oh, that's right.
Haven't seen you in a while.
This is traumatic.
Oh, there you go. We do not believe that reconciliation can happen unless the truth surrounding these events is honestly confronted, the suffering fully acknowledged, and accountability established, and forgiveness reconciled. There is no idea of retribution. There is no idea of justice, unless justice means that we are able to relieve our souls and our minds and our hearts of our thoughts, our memories, our repressed feelings of that day. There's a lot of anger still in Greensboro, all over. It's not all on one side of town. It's also across town that are being given, the people who hold that anger are being given an opportunity to come forward and to relieve their souls and their minds and their hearts of this anger, this anxiety, these suppressed thoughts. This is the first public meeting, I guess we could say, that we've had. We are planning 4 public hearings starting in March, late March, I believe, which will continue once a month. I suppose that will be until July. I haven't counted on my fingers yet how long that is. And we are urging everyone in Greensboro who harbors any ideas, pro or con, to come forward and say what's on their mind. Get rid of it. Because only when we examine all these truths, and each one of us has our own truth, will we be able to come to a consensus on what happened actually that day. That is the first step towards reconciliation, is facing the truth. There are several ways in which people can give their testimony. One of them is to visit our office any Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And they can call the office to set up an appointment. They can say that they would like to give testimony or like to talk to somebody, which is probably the way it'll be put, about their feelings and thoughts, but they don't want to do it in public. We have arranged this so that there is a form just asking your basic demographics. What's your name? Where do you live? Stuff like that. And that person then is able to say whatever he or she wants to say. There may be a probing question as we move along, but the information comes from that person and not with our prompting, well, what did you do? And what did you think? Or anything like that. It's simply an open testimony. At that time, they will be asked whether or not they want to keep this confidential information. And that will be done if that's their wish. Though we will ask each person who makes this kind of testimony if they will consider speaking at one of the 4 forums, or public hearings, I guess is a better way to express it. Or they can simply put their statement there and allow its free disposition. So there's not going to be a wide dissemination of all these statements. That's not the point. The point is that we're going to finally make a report which will supposed to be due at the end of 2005. It's going to take a lot of hard work. And we'll compile all this information to come to a consensus on what was the truth. What did happen that day? How do you feel? And it will reflect the feelings and the thoughts of the various people who have spoken, whether on paper or in person. I hope that before you leave, if you haven't registered at the door here so that we can know who's been here, know how many have been here, I ask you to do that. As you know, there are plenty of refreshments. Eat hearty, friends. And thank you so much for being here.
Barbara, if I could jump in.
Yeah.
If anyone is interested here, who's here in making a statement, if you wouldn't mind just filling out this form with your contact information, and someone from the commission will get in touch with you to arrange for actually making the statement within the next period. So please fill one of these out. In addition, if you specifically have information that you'd like to share with the commission, please fill one of these out, and you can put it in the box or give it to one of the commissioners or Jill or myself, and we'll be in touch with you. And also feel free to take these other flyers and share them with friends if you know of other people who might have information. This just has basically what Barbara said, how to get in touch with the commission, how to make a statement, etc. So please feel free to take more of these and just for yourself, and please share them.
Thank you, Scott. This is Scott Pryor, who is our consultant, able consultant, excuse me, I have to put that adjective there. And I saw that statement down here, but I missed the fact that there were the green cards.
Yes.
I'll remember that hereafter. Thank you. So as I said, eat hearty, my friends.
No, thanks. Oh, I'm good to go here. Yeah. This is a big day. This is the beginning of a public month.
And I'm so proud.